What's up, everyone? Will here filling in for Tim to bring you this week's Spotlight, where we bring you a topic or idea to let you all ponder and discuss it in the comments. So, what's the topic for this week? Controversy. In one way, it is free press for an upcoming film or story, however, it all depends which direction the controversy goes. Johnny Storm, the Ancient One, Heimdall, these are all characters that have been the topics of conversation within the comic community as people discuss the concepts of race and the place it has in being true to the character. Now, of course, there are people who are bigots outright, so let's assume we're all competent yet opinionated individuals. When does race really matter in casting? Earlier this year, the hashtag OscarsSoWhite was trending due to many celebrities feeling a lack of representation of America's diversity in the Oscars as well as film and Hollywood overall. With Hollywood being where all of our most and least favorite comic book films come from, how important is it to accurately cast characters down to the race? Heimdall, the Sentry of Asgard, has typically been depicted throughout his mythology as a white male since he is based off of Norse gods. The controversy arose as the casted actor for the role was Idris Elba, a black Englishman. Some felt this would be problematic as he did not fit the general appearance that people are used to of Asgardians. However, when the film came out and people actually saw him in action, they thought he did a fine job with what he was given, being one of the few characters that people actually enjoy appearing in the Thor film series. Even upon looking into the character, there are no really specific defined physical or even racial attributes to him. Now, on the flip side of this, recently the character of the Ancient One for the upcoming Doctor Strange film will be played by Anglo-Scottish actress Tilda Swinton. The outrage in this arose as the film was partially shot in Tibet, and the character himself is said to be from a quote-unquote hidden land in the Himalayas, which to us remembering our geography is in Asia. Now, we do not know what the casting process was for the film, but I'd like to imagine something that Marvel had to take into consideration, as Baron Mordo is said to be a Transylvanian, but he has not only been voiced by, but will also be played by a black man in the upcoming film. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how she fares in the role, but the backlash is the question of why they didn't choose an Asian actor to take the role in the first place. It would certainly help with a new actor's exposure, and it would also help avoid race-based controversy. Although I trust some of the Hollywood casting and character decisions, I may have a response that may clarify why some race changes work and some don't. Just about everyone recognizes Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man around the world as superheroes. We know their names, their backstories, their main outfits, etc. But what about other characters? Characters like Talia and Ra's al Ghul, who are both played by white actors despite their more Arabic origins. Iris West, who is generally depicted as a white woman being portrayed by black actresses in 2 of her 3 live-action appearances. Amadeus Cho, an Asian man being played by a white man in the Incredible Hulk movie, and Aquaman, aka Arthur Curry, who is generally seen as a blonde-haired white man being played by a brunette Hawaiian man. I think one of the reasons is obscurity. How many people really know Aquaman's real name to the general public? If you do a Google search, sure, you'll find pictures of, but these big budget films are the comic company's chance to get these lesser known characters more popularity, get them pushed more to be to the level of Batman and Spider-Man. You want people to know more about your characters, build interest on the back of a film. With that obscurity, the casting companies for these films have the information to base the characters from, the comic lore as well as the script, and put their own character into a world, and they can kind of flub or change some things since the audience may not be familiar with them, so long as the character's core values stay the same. This is why a race and a gender change for the Ancient One could, not will, but could potentially work for them, but it could not work for certain characters like Black Panther, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, or Kamala Khan. The 3 characters I mentioned actually have race as a characteristic attribute of them. It's part of their core character because it becomes part of their story in one way or another. T'Challa is the king of an African nation, so his actor probably could not be represented by a Japanese woman. Miles deals not only with being a legacy, but also living in modern America and being half black and half Latino, which his books touch on a lot. And Kamala has interpersonal family drama and cultural discussions based on her Muslim and Pakistani heritage. That is why certain actors should not portray them, as some of those aspects will be lost in translation from the page to the screen. Finally, the last reason some do and some don't work is this: change. Every second the face of America changes. Long gone are the days of mostly white males being seen as the superheroes to look up to in comic media. Both Marvel and DC, as well as other companies, are slowly changing the face of their books by introducing and pushing their other characters and creating old ones to fill the old mantles. We have a growing spectrum of different races to represent the positive values of heroes and negative decisions of villains to paint stories for us. America is known to be one of the melting pots of the world, so it would make sense that our films reflect this as well. By having some actors take on roles that were mostly only known to more devout comic book readers, they can draw in more of an audience even at the cost of upsetting some of the fans who are really only used to the status quo. Now, this doesn't mean we can't have debates on whether casting colorblind or casting comic accurate is right or wrong for characters, but let's make it a lot more civil. Let's do some research on it, and to see if it really even fits with the character's attributes before we jump to conclusions that it'll inherently be good or bad. But really, let's talk about it. Let's get a discussion going. Drop a response in the comment section, and don't forget to also like and subscribe to the Hybrid Network for more comic content. I'm Will, and I'm out.